Okay, and we're recording. So, hi everyone, welcome on the Fast Track to SC call. Today we're super excited because we have a great guest speaker, Angela. She is from Gold Coast, right? And she's been in the business for 18 months. She has a great story. She has a great drive. She's super inspiring. So I'm just gonna shut up already and just pass over to her because I'm really looking forward to hearing her story first of all. So your story, how you got to know the business, and how your journey has been in these short 18 months. So welcome, Angela. Thank you so much for being online. I really appreciate. Again, it's 6 a.m. where she is. So thank you. We're so grateful.
It's all good. It's so worth it. I would pretty much do anything for Lauren. If she told me to get up at 3 a.m., I'd be up at 3 a.m. So it's worth it, 100%. But thank you so much for having me. I was so honored when Tasha messaged me and said, will you be on Lauren's training? I was like, oh my gosh, me? Okay, sure. I feel still a little bit like a Juice Plus baby because it has only been a year and a half, but in reality, you know, it's been a fast year and a half. And to give you guys a bit of a background on how I even got here, you know, I sort of got married and had kids, and I had this belief that's all I was going to do. You know, I was going to be a mom. I was going to like do lunch with my friends in my pram in my activewear and do Pilates, and I was like, oh, that's all I want to do with life. And you know, I had my first daughter and I really felt like a sense of wanting to do something more and wanting to have something that was for me and a bit of so I had a business called the Gratitude Project, and I wanted to do that because I wanted to have something that allowed me to have just the financial freedom. You know, my husband never said no, but I also wanted to be able to be independent in that way, but also to be able to know that I was growing something that would continue on with me when my kids had grown up. I started an Instagram account and it got a pretty big following pretty quickly. And so, you know, my husband, I watched him really stressed out in his corporate job and he was making great money, but I never saw him. He was glued to his phone. He never made it home for bedtime, and his health was declining. So, you know, I kind of saw that and I saw that I had this online business, and I thought, you know what, we'll just retire him. We'll just bring him home and he can work in my business and it'll be fine and dandy and it'll be so easy. And it seemed like a really good idea at the time. But, you know, we ended up, I was pregnant with my second daughter. He was pregnant. So, you know, we got him out of his corporate job. We felt really successful in that moment. But what happened then was I gave birth to my second daughter and I had to run a business. So I was throwing myself into work and I was throwing myself into my coaching and, you know, my social media collaborations, and I became so exhausted. And last I found product I used Plus before, and I didn't want some miracle pill or pharmaceutical. I just wanted something that was going to give me back in what I knew I was missing because I wasn't eating properly. I wasn't prioritizing my own health. And I had great results. You know, it wasn't a miracle in the beginning. It was literally just that extra energy, you know, my cleared up and just the little things. And funnily enough, I was speaking to, you guys might have heard of Linda Everton, and she's amazing. And I was speaking to her when I just joined the business, and I told her I suffered from these chronic migraines, and she said, oh, Juice Plus, it could help with that. And I was like, no, like I've done everything. Like it will not help with that. I've tried everything under the sun. And it didn't for 6 months, but it obviously gave my body time to heal something where for the last probably 9 months now, I've been completely migraine free, which is unheard of for me. Like normally it would definitely be like once a month. If I was really lucky, I could squeeze 2 months out without a migraine. That's proof that this product definitely isn't a quick fix for everyone. You know, for me, it took 6 months for it to stop my migraines, but it was also another 9 months I had stopped. So, you know, it for me was even better belief in the product, the fact that people need to be on it for a long time to see long-term results. And prevention is if you aren't really checking their health, they might not see what's actually going on with them. You know, better bowel movements, better sleep, lessened anxiety. Those things can happen from a whole diet. So that was kind of my product story. But 2 weeks into being on the product, Adam and Kira Westwick, who I was sort of friends with Kira, we both had Instagram accounts, and, you know, we were both in the health industry, but she was who I got my product off. And I rang her one day and, you know, I was telling her how stressed out I was at work and how retiring had been the dream, but I was left with, you know, so much responsibility. And I would be sitting in this exact room, I'm in my baby girl's room, and I would be breastfeeding her, and I would have a client call coming up, and I would have to take her off my boob, give her to Hugh, and I would sit on the entire coaching call hearing her screaming for me. But because these people were putting to her, and we needed that money to live. So I said to Kira, you know, tell me, does this actually work? Do you guys actually make money? Like, it seems too good to be true. I would see them like rollerblading their kids to school. They only live a street away from me. So I would see this amazing life, and she's like, and you wouldn't believe it. It's incredible. It's changed our lives. And so I went all in, and I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. And I added something else to my plate. So, you know, whenever people say they're busy, I'm like, are you running a full-time business, 2 kids, 1 week or new this year? Because that is busy. And, you know, when I went into it, I definitely had a few months of dipping my toe in, not really knowing if I was okay. It has a bit of a name here. I don't know if it's the same over there, but I was like, oh, I just, you know, I don't know. And I have this big following on Instagram. I don't want to lose them because I'm doing something that looks like maybe it could be wrong. But I built so much belief in, you know, network marketing as an industry. I watched 2 videos, which I'm pretty sure you guys would have been told to watch. And one is Rise of the Entrepreneur by Eric Worre. And the second one is an audiobook you can find on YouTube called How to Do Marketing Business by Jim Rohn. And I listened to them. I've probably listened to them 100 times now. And it made me so out loud and proud with what we do. You know, I think that we're so blessed to be in this industry. And I ran a training last night as well for Team Freestyle, which is Adam and Kira's team. And, you know, I said in this world, you know, in network marketing, you can become a 7-figure earner. If you treat this full time and you give it the time, you know, I see it being like 5 to 10 years to become 7 figures. And that's such a big number. But, you know, if you give it the time, that can happen. And in most businesses, to earn that much, you're paying a lot out, you're managing staff, you're dealing possibly with product, personalities, you know, a lot goes into it. Whereas obviously with this, you know, it's a $50 yearly fee. Not that much goes into it. And then also, you know, if you're working in a traditional job, if you're making 7 figures, and as much as we can, once we get to that point, you're probably going to be fired. Like, you're probably going to be replaced because they'll find someone who can do it cheaper. So to me, this industry just makes so much sense because it allows people to have that freedom and those choices. And, you know, I'm very big on money is not, you know, the be all and end all, but, you know, my values are around family. My values are around things that are important to me, like travel. And I need money for those values to come to fruition, to eat organic food, to see my chiropractor every week, to have my husband go and to take my kids around the world to see the coolest places ever. So, you know, for me, it's not about the money, but it's totally about the money. So yeah, I'm going to give you guys, sorry, that was kind of a rant story of 9 minutes, but I'm going to give you guys sort of my best tips. I find that since we had our Australian conference, we took out Franchisee of the Year and Rookie of the Year, which had never been done in Australia. So we were so proud, and I was so proud of the girls. But, you know, ever since then, people are always asking me, how do you attract team? Last year, I think I brought on about 50 frontline, which Adam told me was 1 a week. He's like, that was easy. You did 1 person a week. I'm like, all right. okay, yeah, okay, we'll call it easy. That didn't feel easy, but we'll call it easy. So how I attracted those people is probably the most asked question I get, and I hope that this will be of value to you guys, because I know this is a fast track to SC call, and to me, it's like, you know, SDVF, or I think you guys over there, such a position, and that's kind of like the pinnacle to hit. You know, that's like, oh my gosh, I have a good business, I'm making some good money. But SC, it becomes less about what you can do, about application and what you can teach others to do, which I think is so important. You know, you want to be able to build something that you're replicating what you've done. So the first thing I always girls, when they're looking at, you know, attracting people to join them with this, is, you know, who is it that you want to attract? And in my team, we call ourselves the gang. We say gratitude gangster, in case you can't see that. But we, you know, personally in our group, we have men, we have women, we have girls who are 17, women, and we don't discriminate. But I know that for me, my passion is really in helping new mums who have been in successful jobs but don't want to leave their women who, you know, they're very successful, then they have a child and they're torn because they don't know if they want to go back to their successful job, but they don't want to leave their like a vehicle for them. So you know, for me, that's where my marketing kind of goes. That's how I look at who I want to attract. But, you know, I look at it as what I do. So I'm obviously a mom. I obviously run a business. So that kind of works for me. So for you, I think it's about thinking, you know, who would I love to help? Because you don't get what you want, you help people get what they want. Who would I love to help? For me, that's my passion. Figure out what it is for you. Maybe it's young girls coming out of college. Maybe it's retirees. I don't know what it is, but think about what that is just massive. Why do you want to help this person? And then one thing I do, which is a little bit of my hippy dippy side coming out, is I do little meditation every day. I visualize people who I want to help, and I visualize I'm welcoming them in. I'm like, come on, you're so welcome here. I've got open arms. I'm ready to take you on. Or I do any call, you know, three-way call with my team, or any calls with someone who's interested in learning more. I do a little, it literally takes me like 30 seconds. It's kind of, it's a visualization where I really think to myself, if this is going to be beneficial for this person, they will say yes. And sometimes it's not going to be beneficial for them in that moment, which is really fine. With the intention of, if this is going to help them, if this is going to add to their life, let them say yes. And I really trust that the universe and that God will do what needs to be done to get that person to do this. And whatever that means for them, you know, if they do a little or a lot, I believe they're a blessing either way. I think that having intention of whatever it needs to be for them, definitely find that some people just come in for the community side. You know, and you want to make sure that you have an incredible culture within your team. Even if your team is 3 people, you want to make sure that you're celebrating each other, that you are hanging out when you can. We, in the Gratitude Gang, we have gang hangs all over the world. So we California, I've got like 2 girls in New York City. But if anyone is close, they have a gang hang, which is where they get together and they co-work and they throw ideas around. And that culture is so attractive, because not only do they then take a photo and hashtag gang hang and, you know, talk about what they're doing, and they're working on their side hustle. You know, that curious. That they're like, what is this gang hang? And, you know, on the Gold Coast here, our gang hangs are usually 30, 40 people, and we invite prospects. And the cool thing about that is then people, it doesn't have to be massive. It just needs to be heart-centered. So that would definitely be something that I would encourage you guys to do, and do something that, again, really fits in with the people that you want to attract. Because, you know, if you're throwing a gang hang at a park with a whole bunch of prams, but like you really want to attract men, like corporate men, you know, Brian Marsh maybe, who's like an Australian rock star. He got to 100 Club in like a year. You know, if you want to attract him, he doesn't want to go hang out at the park with prams. So really think about how you want to bring in those people. And then the second thing I talk about with my girls is you want to look at what you're putting out into the world. And there are 3 questions I always ask the girls to think about when they are looking at not only social media, but how they're interacting with people in real life. And I think the first question is, do people trust you? So, you know, when I had 5 years of building this social media following and giving a lot of free value and being someone that people really respected in that way. So when I had this to offer, people trusted me and they were like, sure, I'm here. And sometimes, you know, when you get started in this business, you need to spend a bit of time building up that trust. So you need to spend a little time where, you know, you people that you're here to give and you're here to be of service, and, you know, look back at maybe what you're doing and think, you know, if I was looking at this, would I trust me? Would I want to do this? The second thing I always ask is, are people curious? They know what you do, because you don't want to hide behind, you know, pictures of the ocean and kind of confusing quotes about your side hustle that don't really make sense. Like, you want to be able to be like, guys, like, I have something that I do online from home around my life and it's awesome. And you almost obviously still is what I like to do. You want people to know you do something, but you want them to come to you to ask for more. And the same with the product. And if you guys have like a shred program or anything, you know, you've got something, because you want them to come to you and ask about it. So, you know, when you look at your social media and when you think about how you talk to people, do they know that you do something on the side that earns you an income? You know, and when you hit SC, are they seeing like your celebrations of how all is fine? Are you when you see them, you know, I just hit a mega promotion, I just got a bonus, I'm so excited, or celebrating that about your girls when they hit their milestones? You know, you really want people to be like, yeah, she does something and I want to know more. And then the last thing you want to ask yourself is, do people look at what I do and feel like they can do it? Because when I looked at what Kira was doing and I was like, look, you know, she's not spamming the page with Juice Plus. She's not posting capsules every 5 minutes. It's like, I can do that. I could definitely do that. And it's not overwhelming and it was subtle and she does it very gracefully. And I was like, I can totally do that. Whereas, you know, like if you're posting a story today and, you know, you seemingly are always working, like people might look at it and be like, oh, I don't know if I could do that. She seems to work a lot. You know, she seems really like super, you know, so you want to be like, okay, can people do this? Can other people do what I can do? Because like I said at the beginning, it is so about duplication. You know, you want to be able to show people they can do what you've done, they can do these. You know, so they're my 3 questions. And the same when you're talking to people in real life, you know, if you're, I suppose, if you're showing up without, you know, confidence, certainty, or without being at all charismatic, people are going to be like, I don't know if I want to do this. You know, one of my girls, she hangs out at playgrounds and where she finds a lot of her team. You know, she just goes and she connects with them and she asks really great questions. She uses an acronym that we talk about a lot called FORM, which you talk to someone, it's a way of asking good quality questions. So F is family. So, you know, like obviously at the playground, like, you've got kids, is this your only kid? Like, how many do you have? Oh yeah, what does your husband do? Does he enjoy? Do you going well? Which leads into O, which is occupation. So family, occupation, you know, do you work? Have you worked? What would you love to do? What are you not doing right now that you would love to be doing more of? Which is, you know, what do you guys do for fun? Do you travel? Do you guys like to go on road trips? Like, what is your thing? And then M is motivations. You're excited for the future that you're really looking forward to. And, you know, having those conversations are great. But if you're showing up in the energy of, you know, kind of being like shy and like, do you have more kids? do you like your job? You know, like if you're showing up in that energy, people are going to be like, show people that, you know, you're really confident in what it is that you do. You want to show up as someone who's super certain on what it is that you're doing. So certain on how great this product is, so certain on how great our industry is, how great our company is. And then you want to be kind of, you know, and practice takes perfect. I never speaker in my past. I was kind of shy. I had limiting beliefs, but I literally, like, you know, a few years ago when I decided I wanted to start an online business, I set up an iPad and I filmed myself speaking, and I would have done like 20 takes. It was the very first time I'd ever done a speaking gig, and I practiced, and I practiced 20 times, and everything from like, okay, do I my body, my shoulders, am I speaking loud enough? Am I articulating my words? Am I someone who is engaging and charismatic right now? And if I would watch it back and say no, I would go again. And it took me 20 times. And there's nothing wrong with you guys doing that here. You know, if you find that in person you struggle to have those conversations, then practice. Practice in front of the mirror, practice with a friend or a side. Really like get into treating this like it's your forever, because I know for me, once I really decided with this, and I said, time I was an SC, I remember the day so well. I was like, I'm sick of dipping my toe in. You know, I can't remember who said it. It might have even been Lauren, but someone said, you can't result like splashing around in the paddling pool. Like if you want Michael Phelps results, then you got to go and you got to train, you got to practice, you got to show up, and you really got to do the things that make the Michael Phelps, you know. And so for me, that looks like, you know, if there's an area where you feel like you could do with a little extra work, like how you're showing up, how you're portraying yourself in social media. I don't know how I'm doing on social media. I don't know if my stuff is attractive. I don't know if I would follow me. You know, then go and find some training around it. Go and ask your upline people who you see doing really well and ask them for their advice. You know, ask them to help you out. And some people won't want to help you, but some people will. And I think that it's just important to be like, all right, I can become a student of every single part of this process, because, you know, for me, the second I started treating it like a business, it started rewarding me like a business. And like I said, I had a newborn our entire life. You know, I didn't have our husband's salary to fall back on. We had literally nothing. If I didn't show up to work, I didn't get paid. We didn't have a house. We didn't have, you know, you just want to have on yourself because it forces you to show up. And, you know, I know that I'm sure that you guys would have a lot of people who talk to you about really figuring out your why. But, you know, for me, I think it was just thrown straight in my face of like, okay, well, if you do this, the alternative is you work your butt off, you're going to not spend time with your kids, you're going to regret that. Like, there was so much pain in me not doing this that I had no choice but to show up completely and become an expert at everything I could. And so for you, it's like, what does it mean if you don't do this? And sometimes mediocrity can, you know, maybe it's just, okay, well, if I don't do this, then I continue to work in my retail job. And maybe you're like me, maybe you're like, I'll just get married and have babies. And it's like, that's cool. Like, some people are really great at that. I was not good at it. I was like, I'm bored. I'm sick of talking about nappies, like sleep arrangements don't, like the whole, like, you know, getting them to nap. I was like, you know, it's just not my thing. And, you know, for me, that was in the beginning, the mediocrity that was going to kill me. That not having passion, not having something that I was proud of. And so use that to drive you. You know, use what happens if I don't do this to drive you. And maybe it's a shitty job. Maybe it's that you want to travel more. Maybe whatever that might be, just have that in the forefront of your mind when you feel like not showing up. And just say to yourself, you know, if I don't show up, this is what happens. I don't get to be great. I don't get to give to the people I love. I don't get to live in accordance with my values, which again, for me, like in the beginning, I couldn't afford to. We couldn't afford to see the We couldn't afford to go on little mini holidays when we wanted to. And that killed me. That was too much for me, you know, because that is so, so ingrained in my values. So, you know, super clear on your why, and are you super clear on what it's going to be if you don't do this? Because like I said at the beginning, there is no opportunity like the one of network marketing at all. There is nothing like it. Like, again, if you want to really the next level, and I've got big dreams, and I think anyone in this industry can, like any of you can literally say, you know what, I want to become a 6-figure earner. I want to become a multiple 6-figure earner. I want to become a 7-figure earner. Any of you could do this. It's just deciding to show up and really treat it like a for what you do in this, and it's totally possible for you. And if the money is not important, like I said before, think about what the money buys you. Think about what you get because of the money, and whether it's giving to other people, whether it's contribution, whether it's for a charity that you are so passionate about, or whether the people are all more, because so many of us want more, but we're terrified to ask for it. And this business is literally like silver platter. You can have it if you want it. You just have to take it. So, you know, that's kind of been my driving force, I suppose. And I think we've got like a few more minutes left, hey?
Take all the time you want.
Guys, if you want to ask me any questions, if you want me to talk about anything in particular, let me know. I kind of timed this for half an hour. But while you guys are typing, if anyone has anything, I love to sort of finish off with this. And I think it's really relevant when it comes to what we do and how we do in this business. It's a quote I heard once, which was, "A breath of fresh air is a great thing to take and an even better thing to be." And the reason I love this so much is because when you meet people and when you interact with people, and especially doing what we do and being in a place where we can help people so much, being a breath of fresh air, just it's a big bonus to your business, you know, for people to be able to be like, wow, it was so nice to talk to her. It was so nice to connect with this person. You know, that itself is such a massive tool for your business, being a breath of fresh air. And then, you know, on the other hand, taking a breath of fresh air is such a good thing to do, because you can definitely find yourself getting overwhelmed in something like this. And if you do decide, you know, from now, I'm assuming you're all VFs and you're going for SC, and if you decide right now to take this level, then there are going to be times when you feel super overwhelmed. There are going to be times when you're like, oh my goodness, this is too much and this is hard and rejection sucks and my team aren't doing anything and I don't know this and I can't figure that out. And there are going to be so many times when things come up and you're because a part of you is going to say to yourself, you can't be this great. You cannot be this successful. You cannot do this because it's going to make other people uncomfortable. And if you don't have the tools to get out of that overwhelm, it might get on top of you and then you won't get to show your greatness and do what you're meant to do with this business as a book. Doing the strategies to deal with overwhelm. And I'm a very big believer, just personally on the topic of overwhelm, that, you know, the bigger the structure, the stronger the creativity. So, you know, I went from being like this hippie who was like, I just go with the flow. And, you know, if I feel like doing this today, I'll do this. I like to that, I'll do that. It did not work for me, because what I found was there are things in my business that I just don't feel like doing most days. You know, like I just sometimes don't feel like doing customer care. And sometimes I just don't feel like tracking my reports for clubs. You know, reports are hard work sometimes. I'm definitely getting better, but I'm like, if I do the things I feel like I want to do, this is nowhere. Whereas if I have structure and I know that when I get up in the morning at 8:30, when my husband walks my kids to school, well, one of my girls, my other one's a baby, so she can't really go to school. When he's walking my other girl to school, I know that that is message time. I know that I'm in my inbox talking to my team, writing back to whatever I've got overnight. That every single day I put on one of the t-shirts that's hanging in a section of my wardrobe and my black yoga pants so that I don't have to think about what to wear unless I'm going out somewhere. I know that straight after email time, I'm on to calls. Like the morning is blocked out for calls. That's just me. And I know that the afternoon is time for more practical things like really getting to VF, looking at, you know, who could qualify, all of those bits and pieces. That structure works so well for me because in the gaps between it, which is so much more abundant, I can do what I need to do. I can be creative. I can think about new ways to post to people. I can think about, you know, how I can get in touch with someone, how I can start, how I can products a different way. You know, that structure just feeds creativity for me, and structure is such a feminine energy. And I think for me as a former hippie go with the flow, I was like, no, structure sucks. But really, structure for women, it gives us so much freedom, and we are structured by nature. We actually do love it. And just feminine time, and it's all about structure. It really is. So figure out what you need, because we live in a world where focus is more important than intelligence. And I say that like firsthand experience. Focus is more important than intelligence, because there are people who know way less than you who are doing better than you. It's the truth. You know, the other day, one of the girls in Team Freestyle, she got to VF in 5 days. I was like, man, a week and a half, and I thought I had done it really fast. And I was like, you know, the truth of the matter is, when I was doing it, I wasn't as focused, and I was so like, I need to know everything about the product. I need to know the compensation plan inside and out. And this girl was like, no, I didn't need to know that stuff because I knew we could find it. I just knew that I needed to help people. And that energy in itself, she was so focused on, I just need to help people. That all the how-tos, she's like, I know it's there. I know we've got great structures. I know we have everything we need. I know the ingredients list will be somewhere. So she just focused on helping people. And if you guys can come from that place of knowing exactly who your market is, knowing exactly who it is that you want to serve, and then becoming an expert at helping them bring up your best self, you will be on fire, completely on fire. I just seen a message from I'm just gonna wing that. Just blame the Aussie accent. Would you mind sharing where you find most of your clients? I would like to help more people with their health. Do you find most on Instagram, Facebook, in-person events, or somewhere else? Yeah, so mostly Instagram. I love Instagram. I'm such a big fan of it, but I find a lot of people on there, but I don't post. So a lot of people do. So, you know, like you shoot off a post and then you're like, please, can 20 people come into my inbox and ask me to tell them more? Please do not do that. Like, you've got to do the work. And like, I got 50 people in a year because I spoke to more people. And I would, you know, drop into a DM with someone. If someone's on one of those, I send them a direct message. If someone posts something about, you know, a product that I want for my children, I pop into their inbox and say, hey, like, tell me more about it. Like, what the kids, and conversations in there. If I follow, you know, and like I said, I'm really passionate about helping mums. So I go and look for mums who are doing cool things, who I'm like, you know what, maybe this could help them. And literally, you know, I always say that when I start a conversation, and when you guys start a conversation, you get one of three things. You get a teaming, you get a friend, and all three are as valuable as each other. So when I'm talking to someone online, I'm like, you know what, if this is meant for them and if this will be beneficial, then it's for them. If not, I've created a great relationship with a new person, and that's awesome too. And, you know, Kira and I knew each other for years before I said yes to this. And it was friendship, sort of being, and we were friends on social media. We didn't even know we lived a street away, but just her constantly being a presence in my inbox, like in my social media life, you know, and then, you know, asking how the kids were, asking how my pregnancy was going, all of those bits and pieces. That for me was what made me go to her when I needed something. And so sometimes it's not the initial like, okay, this person's going to say yes right away. Sometimes it's literally like, years later, like I was years later. And if she had just forgot and because I knew about Juice Plus prior, I knew about the business and I had been approached about it, but if she had just dropped off the face of the planet, I could have gone to someone else. I know a couple of people who do it, but I went to her because she was always there. She was always in my inbox saying, being loving. And so, when you find someone and you think this could really help them, it's not always a yes. Sometimes. And I never say it's a no. I say it's always a not right now because I think that everyone needs this. I think that everyone needs the product, and I think that the business is so just keep loving people. So that would be my main encouragement, is not to post and pray, but to post and go and talk to people, get in conversations. That is, for me, the most high paying activity is getting in conversations with people and really connecting. And if you hear that there's something in their life that this could help, just let them know, and tell them about yourself, what you know. Danielle, what are your non-negotiables for you and your team? I'm so glad you love the call. So much pressure. I'm like, Lauren's like my dream. I'm like, oh my God, I want to be Lauren Slocum when I grow up. So I'm like, I gotta do well on this. Our non-negotiables, so we have a group page just because there's a lot of it. But we have a little attitude thread in there, which we try and post in most days. But non-negotiables for our business, 5 high-paying activities. Have you guys heard of the 5 high-paying activities? Yeah, some of you are nodding. Okay, so that's like the non-negotiable. So I just encourage the girls to go through the 5 high-paying activities, to go through that list, and to really like make that a part of your day. So the first high-paying activity is obviously talking to people. So as soon as you show up to work, and actually there's a great guy, Robin Sharma, if any of you have heard of him, he's such a great, he's sort of like a I suppose he's like a master of productivity. He wrote a book called The Ferrari Who Sold, or The Who's Ferrari. He talked about, like, for 90 days, spend the first 90 minutes of your day laser focused on that thing you want. And so that's always in the forefront of my mind for my girls. If you can get up, and whether that work day starts when the kids are gone or whatever it might be for you, if you can spend 90 minutes laser focused on the 5 high paying activities, talking to, creating curiosity, going to events, customer care, following up, all those things, if you can spend 90 minutes, his name's Robin Sharma. I'll type it in here. Sorry, my keyboard's a bit. Yeah, so he basically talks about that. And yeah, if you can spend the first 90 minutes of your day doing that, what it does is it kind of leaves, and we don't all have that luxury because we have jobs and children, but the 90 minutes that you are working, but if it's 9 minutes, that's totally cool too. But yeah, working on those activities, that frees up any other extra time to be creative, what other things you could do, and to really get more done, get more in. You know what I mean? So that's kind of our non-negotiable, would definitely be that. And then another one is just being a product of the product. Like, I'm like, if you're not on the product, what's going on? Like, you've got to actually come from a really authentic place. And so when I do with someone, like, are you in a financial position today to get onto all the products? And I just straight out say it, because some people are going to be like, yeah, that's totally fine. For us in Australia to be on everything, it's about $11 a day. I always pay that. If I go to my bar and I get 33 different fruits, vegetables, and berries in a juice, they're going to charge me about like $500 for one juice, because they're like, not do it. Literally, like, the juice down the, you get 3 ingredients, and if you want a 4th, it's 50 cents. And I'm like, you're not getting extra juice. Like, it's the same size. You're literally charging me 50 cents to grab like a 4th thing in your hand and put it in the juicer. I'm like, I don't understand the concept behind that. But imagine if you asked for 33, they would totally go crazy. So like, for me, I'm like, that's, I think, really good, straightforward, and be like, are you in a financial position to do that today? Because then you know where people are at, and then you can also map out to them, okay, if you're not, this is how many customers that you could get to get you to a place where you can afford them all, because it is super important that you're coming from a really authentic place with this. Siobhan, when is it necessarily for a little how to stay welcoming. So I'm assuming you mean to get her on the product. So, my question is usually around, like when I know that someone's kind of like, oh, I can't, but I'll do it soon, but I can't do it now, but I'll do it soon. I just say to people, I go, look, what do you need to know to get you to do this? What's holding you back right now from this? And that's the same with if I've got someone who I think would be great, in the business, in my team. I'm like, what do you need to know right now to get you to do this? Because I feel like there's a question you're not asking me, or there's a hesitation that you haven't told me about. And I just really want to know, because in my eyes, this could help you so much. What do you need to know to get started with this? And usually, like, they'll, come out with the nugget of truth, like, it's a scam, it's a pyramid scheme, or like, I've heard the product. It's like, I've had that before, where a friend has been like, oh, I Googled the ingredients and I saw that there's food coloring in the product. And I'm like, there's no food coloring in the product. Like, why wouldn't you just ask me? Like, you've gone to some random website that spouted absolute BS, and literally she wasn't on the product for so long because she thought it had food coloring in it. And I was like, dude, I'm a health coach. What do you think? So tough love, yes. I would just be asking, what is it that you need to know? What is it that you need to know to get you on this product? Just to try it. What if you just tried it for 4 months? That 4 months of your whole life. What if you just gave it a try? You don't have to keep buying it after that, right? You do not have to have any more if you don't think it's working for you. But what do you need to know? Because I've seen this do incredible things for other people, and I feel like I'm robbing you of slightly better health at the very least by not asking you. Just love and like pure honesty. Thanks, Linda. Well, that's kind of me done, guys, if there's no other questions.
This was amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much for answering all these questions. And I think, I thought it was another question popping up. Angela, this was awesome. So many golden nuggets. So I took a whole page of notes. I was like, it was amazing. Thank you so much. I just love that you keep it so simple, but you're really a huge inspiration. So thank you for taking the time to be on and share all this with us.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yes.
Hi. So my area of growth is organization. And first of all, I want to say thank you. You've been so amazing. You're so clear, and I really just am so thank you so much for your time and just sharing and loving on all of us. So you seem organized, and I have to say that I'm just like, wow, what do you use to organize your customers and your prospects? Because that is definitely my area, but I have so many good people to follow up with, and I don't have a system. I'm trying to figure that out.
So I have what I call a business activity tracker, and I've got it for customers and also for business prospects. And I do it on Google Docs. So, the Excel spreadsheet you can do on Google Docs, because it's on my phone and it's also on my computer. It's linked up to everything. So down what the columns are. But what it does is, if I'm out and I'm talking to someone and the product seems like it could really help them, and I want to make sure I follow up, then I quickly put it in. And then having a conversation with someone, because sometimes I get emails, sometimes it's in my Instagram, sometimes it's in Messenger, sometimes it's in real life, sometimes it's in my business Facebook. So I've got 5 different places where I talk to people, which gets super confusing. So I have no choice but to be really organized. So in the business activity tracker, the first column is name, second column is contact details, so whether that's their email or their phone number, however I'm contacting them. I personally put time zone converter because I get a lot of people from different states and different countries. Conversation location for me is really important because, like I said, there's 5 different ways they're coming in. So it'll be like Facebook, text, and then I have a column for notes. So, I basically will just say, like one of them, asked about the business, and I said just loving on her because she does doTERRA and she's putting all her effort into that. Another one, products have been ordered but doesn't want to start the business until it has had an experience. And then the next column is date of in. And this is such an important column for me because I know that when I've got spare time or when I'm doing my follow-up, I look at that column first, and anyone who hasn't been followed up in a little while, they get priority. And it's not like, hey, are you ready to sorry, I dropped it. Are you ready to buy Juice Plus yet? Or are you ready to join the gratitude gang? It's literally like, hey, how's your family? Is work going good? What have you been doing lately? I saw you were traveling, and what's happening? You know, what are you excited about? Have you got anything on this weekend? So I'll have a conversation with them instead of just following up and being like, are you ready to order? And, you know, out of form, I usually find a way to bring it back up again. And it usually comes around, this is hard and I don't know how to do this. And I'll be like, all right, cool. Like, you know, I know you were interested in joining the gang. Like, tell me. And again, this is that same question. What do you need to know to get started? What's holding you back? So that's how I and I'm a little bit more, even more OCD. I put them in tabs and I put them into months. So there's a different tracker for each month. So I can go back to like December last year and like, okay, was not really right now, and I haven't followed up with them for a while. So I'm even just gonna go on their Facebook page and just see if there's anything they've posted lately and just comment on it or like it. Just love on a bit, just remind them I'm here in case it's time that they want something more for their life, because you just don't know. So that personally is like my savior. And some people prefer to write things, some things like handwritten, so you could definitely do it in a book and, you know, have like a color coding system with highlighters, whatever works for you. But I just find for me that I've always got my phone or I'm in front of my computer. So as soon as I get, you know, like a notification or something that, you know, someone's interested, I put it straight in there. It's like, I hope that's.
I want to say thank you so much. And was this all recorded, like even the part that, because I'm driving right now and I want to go down and write down the categories that you said, because I really appreciate that because that is what I need to just, because this is true confessions. I have a stack of all these cards, and I need to put them in a place so I can follow up. And I'm embarrassed. I'm blushing. That's what it looks like. So I appreciate categories, and thank you for that.
Don't worry, that was me too. I was like so unorganized and I had everything everywhere. And once I found this, it just, it was easy for me. Get structure really, really freed me up for my creativity, you know? I love it. And someone just asked what the 5 hang activities are. So the second one is share what you're doing, so either in person or online. The third one is to follow up with people, because how often do we just forget to follow up with people? The fourth one is events, going to live events, doing online events, whatever that might be. And then the fifth one is customer care. And that's them.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Angela. We kept you hostage for almost an hour, but this was amazing. Thank you. Thank you again.
Well, the sun's finally coming up, if you guys can't see, but good timing.
Thank you. Thank you guys for being online. I will post the recording later, I promise. Thank you again, Angela.
That's okay. Bye, guys. Have a good day.
You're amazing.
You
So
too.
Thank you.